Iran has issued a stern warning. If Israel carries out any attack on Iranian nuclear installations, Tehran will retaliate by targeting Israel's nuclear sites. And this is not an empty threat. Iran has said it has detailed intelligence related to Israel's nuclear sites. According to reports in Iranian media, Iran's Supreme National Security Council has said that the country's intelligence services have secured large volume of strategic and sensitive documents related to Israel's nuclear infrastructure. The council reportedly said this information gives Iran the ability to launch an immediate and targeted response if any Israeli operation damages its nuclear assets. The statement states that Israeli nuclear sites will be potential targets in the event of any preemptive or hostile move. Further, it says that any aggressive act against Iran's military or economic infrastructure will trigger what it calls an accurate and proportional response. The head of the IRGC warned that with this newly acquired intel, Iran can now pinpoint the Israeli targets and hit them with precision. And besides Israel's nuclear capabilities, Iran has said it is also in possession of documents relating to Israel's military defenses and its international ties. Iran's intelligence minister has said that portions of these materials will soon be made public. Iran's statements do not come in isolation. Over the past 3 months, in fact, there have been multiple reports claiming that Israel is planning to launch an attack against Iran's nuclear sites. And last week itself, Israel reportedly told the White House it would not act against Iran's nuclear program unless ongoing nuclear negotiations collapse. Back in April, American reports claimed that Israel had been preparing for a possible strike on Iranian facilities, possibly in the month of May. But U.S. President Donald Trump allegedly halted those plans, opting to continue diplomatic efforts. Uranium enrichment remains one of the sticking points. Washington and Tehran, in fact, continue to remain deeply divided over the issue of uranium enrichment. Trump has rejected the Iranian counter-proposal in the ongoing nuclear talks, calling it unacceptable. He has warned of severe consequences if Iran continues uranium enrichment. I'm quoting Trump here. The alternative is a very, very dire one. Now, so far, the two sides have completed 5 rounds of nuclear talks. Iran's foreign minister said a 6th round of talks is scheduled to take place this Sunday. And this comes following Trump's earlier announcement that the negotiations will take place on Thursday. Meanwhile, Iran's ally Russia has signed an agreement to construct 8 nuclear power plants in the country. As per reports, 4 out of 8 of these plants will be situated in southern Iran's Bushehr. Russia had, remember, helped Iran build its first nuclear reactor at Bushehr. Whether the next round of talks will lead to a breakthrough or remain at a stalemate situation, it's still $1 million question at this point, and we'll have to wait and watch for the answer. Shifting focus for now to Pakistan. The country's budget appears to indicate a recovery on paper, but a comparison of the economic survey and the latest budget with previous report indicating a more nuanced and less optimistic picture. Pakistan, in fact, lowered its overall budget for 2025 to 26, but hiked defense spending by 20%. This comes as the country's total public debt reached 76 trillion Pakistani rupees, around $269 billion. The hike in defense outlay comes even as Pakistan remains debt-ridden and the country faces economic instability and high inflation. The economic survey pegged growth at 4.2% for next year compared to 2.7% this fiscal. Those upbeat predictions still show Pakistan's growth lagging. According to the Asian Development Bank, growth in South Asian countries averaged 5.8% last year, and is predicted to expand an average 6% in 2025. The economic survey pegged growth at 4.2% for next year compared to 2.7% this fiscal. And those upbeat predictions still showing Pakistan's growth lagging. Not too long ago, the country was confronted with a financial crisis, including low foreign reserves and large current account deficits. And despite these challenges, the agricultural sector had done rather well, expanding by more than 6% on the back of record wheat and cotton crops in 2023 to 24. But agriculture output has slowed sharply to just 0.56% in the current fiscal. Major crops like wheat and cotton saw big drops due to water shortages. And economists say these fundamental macro issues tend to form vicious economic cycles, weighing on food supply, hitting imports and forex reserves eventually. The underperformance of the industrial and service sectors continuing to be a real drag due to high borrowing costs and inconsistent policies as well. And with the IMF urging Pakistan to widen the tax base through reforms, which include taxing agriculture, retail, real estate, those sectors are expected to underperform further. So the country's attempt at a fine balancing act of fiscal prudence to adhere to IMF's conditions and increase defense spending once again leaves behind several crucial questions. The economic survey and the budget do not specify how Pakistan's problems will address how this will actually address the structural problems in the country. For example, how will Pakistan address rising energy circular debt, poor development at the provincial level, ongoing debt repayments, including huge interest payouts? Meanwhile, ordinary citizens still face a poverty crisis, surge in food inflation, job shortages, a faltering rupee. Under the World Bank's new threshold, Pakistan's poverty rate has surged to 44.7%. up from 39.8%. Pakistan's extreme poverty rate has jumped from 4.9% to 16.5%. Meanwhile, new World Bank numbers placing 88.4% of Pakistan's population below the $8.30 a day upper middle income line, highlighting widespread economic vulnerability and the urgent need for resilience building policies. And those dire numbers are based on outdated 2018 to 19 household income and expenditure survey data. This means recent shocks like COVID-19, the 2022 floods, which hit 1/4 of the country, are not yet reflected in the new figures. China's suspension of key heat-resistant magnets made with rare earth minerals amid the ongoing trade tensions with America reportedly disrupted the defense supply chain in the US and other Western countries at a time when they are reportedly scrambling to replenish stocks of advanced weaponry equipment recently thinned out by shipments to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. And at the center of the issue is a rare earth metal called samarium. It is used almost entirely for military applications and allows magnets to endure extreme heat without losing strength. These magnets are vital for electric motors found in missiles, fighter jets, smart bombs. Right now, China is reportedly the world's sole producer of samarium. Back in April, Beijing cut off exports of 7 rare earth elements, including samarium, and China said that the restrictions are steps taken to protect national security and comply with international rules on non-proliferation. For the US defense sector, the fallout is set to be immediate. Lockheed Martin, the primary American buyer of samarium, reportedly uses around 50 pounds of these magnets in every F-35 fighter jet. And the United States has no domestic supply, despite recognizing the risk years ago. America has failed to build an alternative source. The Biden administration had approved contracts for 2 domestic samarium facilities, but neither was constructed due to commercial hesitations. And as a result, American forces now rely entirely on China for this crucial material. Trade talks between US and Chinese officials are currently underway in London, with restoring rare earth exports reportedly high on Washington's list. But experts expect China to maintain its rare earth minerals control, if not tighten it further. Unlike other rare earths, samarium is uniquely military in its use. China's export halt has exposed a critical gap in American and Western military readiness. Unless China resumes its supply or an alternative emerges, the ability of the US and Western countries to produce cutting-edge weaponry could slow down dramatically. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.